Welcome back, everyone. Time to do another comparison this time around between the newly released iPhone 12 mini and the somewhat older iPhone XS. Now, the XS came out in 2018, so it's a little bit over 2 years old at this point. The iPhone 12 mini just came out, and side by side, there's definitely some differences for sure, but the price tag is probably the main one. The iPhone 12 mini cost me over $729 to pick up, but that's the retail price for it. The iPhone XS you can pick up in a lot of places for like less than $400, probably around 400 to be honest. And depending on the condition and stuff, you may be even to be able to pick it up a little bit cheaper than that. So the XS is definitely far cheaper than the iPhone 12 mini. But if you want to pick up either one of these, I'll find the cheapest ones on Amazon. Link them down in the description below. You can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now, side by side, you can definitely see that the iPhone XS is a much larger phone than the 12 mini, and rightfully so. And actually, I tried to do this yesterday. I mean, they kind of look about the same, to be honest. I mean, I don't really think the full 12 mini fits into the panel of the iPhone XS, but on the front of the iPhone XS, you have a 5.8-inch OLED panel on it, and it was a really good panel. I mean, you guys can still see it. It looks really good. There's really not that much to hate on it. I mean, you have the notch. If the 12 mini had a removed notch, then obviously it would make this one look old. But the fact that it doesn't, it really doesn't make that much of a difference. You have the curved design on the iPhone 12 Pro. You have the curved design on the iPhone XS as well. And when you hold it in the hands, it doesn't feel cheap. Like, it feels like an extremely premium phone. And in some cases, it actually feels more premium than the iPhone 12 mini because of the stainless steel side. So that's a huge asset for it. Now on the iPhone 12 mini, we have that 5.4-inch Super Retina XDR OLED panel on it. And I think it definitely is a step up in terms of some cases. It's a smaller panel, so some people may prefer it. You also have the flat sides on the iPhone 12 mini as well. But I don't know, like, if I had to pick one, I don't really think the XS panel, this one has an aftermarket on display too, but all my other iPhones I've had real panels on it, and I don't really see, even between these ones, that big of a reason to pick up the 12 mini or the XS just based on the panels themselves. Now, the size is the biggest differentiating factor, and in the hand, I definitely do notice the 12 mini being smaller, but I don't really notice it being like a crazy difference. Like, definitely going from the 12 Pro Max to this one is going to be a bigger difference, but between these two, they feel about the same in the hand, so that's a pretty big thing to keep in mind in terms of the thinness between them. One doesn't necessarily feel thinner or thicker than the other one, if I'm being honest. The 12 mini is smaller, just in general, so it gives the impression that it may be a little bit thinner, but I don't really feel like one is thinner or thicker than the other one, to be honest. They feel about the same. And on the back, we pretty much have the same exact setup for the most part, same glass backs. This one has a skin on it, dual camera setups, but we do have an ultra-wide sensor here versus the telephoto lens here. And definitely, in my opinion, one doesn't really feel better than the other one in terms of the premiumness to them. They both have IP certification, both have wireless charging. The iPhone 12 mini does have that MagSafe capability, but other than that, they're pretty much the same exact phones on the outside. Now, in terms of the software, this is where things are a little bit tricky. The XS is 2 years older than the 12 mini, so theoretically speaking, the 12 mini should last 2 extra years on top of the XS. So that's a pretty big thing to keep in mind. If you're picking up the 12 mini, expect to have maybe 2 years of software support, maybe 1 year of software support, but either or, you're going to have, pretty much, still long-lasting devices on both of these. The iPhone XS is still supported. It's going to be supported for many, many more years. It just so happens that the 12 mini is going to outlast the XS when it comes down to it. So as of right now, the XS isn't looking too good in terms of the 12 mini compared to software updates, but the XS and 12 mini are still going to be supported for a long time. So that really pretty much covers it up in the software standpoint. Now let's go ahead and do a little bit of a speed comparison between both these devices. The iPhone XS has that Apple A12 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM, where the iPhone 12 mini has the Apple A14 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM as well. So let's go and see which one is the faster phone between both of these. Okay, now that we're back, let me go and clear all the apps in the background, and I think they are already cleared out. So let's hop to the beginning. Let's do phone calls, 3, 2, 1. Okay, about the same on both, not a ginormous difference at all. Let's do their app stores, 3, 2, 1. And you can definitely see the 12 mini is the far faster one when it comes down to it. Scrolling through, one doesn't really seem way faster than the other one, and the sun is like setting now, so that's why it got a little bit darker. But as you can see, the scrolling speeds were about the same on both too. In terms of the actual, hopping out and gesture-based design-wise, you're going to be getting about the same type of experience, I would imagine. There's really not that big of a difference between those. Now I have a bunch of these third-party apps that we can go and get into. Let's do Fruit Ninja, 3, 2, 1. And I have to rearrange the ISO a little bit in the exposure. And as you can see, the iPhone 12 mini was actually the faster one there. The XS was a little bit slower. Let's do Twitter, 3, 2, 1. Okay, 12 mini faster, iPhone XS slower, Facebook, 3, 2, 1. 12 mini faster, 10s a little bit slower there. Now I will have to turn the ISO down again, the exposure. Okay, there we go. That's a little bit better. Let me turn on the brightness over here. Let's do tempo run 2, 3, 2, 1. And as you can see, the 12 mini was just flying ahead of the iPhone XR. This was a pretty big difference when it came down to it. And this is this is probably one of the bigger differences for sure. I mean, when you're comparing a phone with a newer chipset, it does showcase a lot of what this phone is pretty much capable of. Now, RAM management has been pretty weird on the iPhone 12 mini, so keep that in mind. But definitely when it came down to the performance, at least from these couple apps, the iPhone 12 mini has been way ahead. Let's do BOFA, 3, 2, 1. And the 12 mini was faster. iPhone XS shortly behind it. Let's do Quizlet, 3, 2, 1. iPhone 12 mini was faster. iPhone XS a little bit slower. Let's do Netflix, 3, 2, 1. And they both were about the same. It was very, very close. Snake versus Blocks, 3, 2, 1. And this one was faster, the 12 mini, as expected again. Let's get into some gameplay, and they're probably going to glitch up in like 2 seconds, but yeah, both of them are probably going to be pretty much the same when it comes down to that one. Let's do Thank You, 3, 2, 1. You can see the 12 mini was way ahead. iPhone XS a little bit behind. Gameplay-wise, though, they're going to be probably roughly around the same. I don't think there's going to be that big of a difference here. Let's do Stack, 3, 2, 1. You can see the 12 mini faster. This one was slightly behind. There's not that big of a difference there. We can do Paper IO 2, 3, 2, 1. And again, the exposure, the sunlight, and all this stuff is going out. But you can see the 12 mini again was the faster one there. Let's get into some gameplay. And there may be a difference. Maybe. I don't really think there will be, honestly. They're both going to be about the same. Let's end it off with the Road Racing 3, 3, 2, 1. And it may be the 12 mini is actually the faster one again. Maybe. We really don't know yet. And you can see the 12 mini actually was the faster one there. The iPhone XS is a little bit slower. There's no problem with that. I mean, we have seen time and time again how, much longer it takes for these older iPhones to kind of load up these games. It may be stuck in a downloading panel too, so that's another thing to keep in mind. And you can see the XS eventually got into it. So what I can definitely tell you is between both of these, the iPhone 12 mini is definitely the far better performing one for sure. When it comes down to the speed aspect, you're going to be getting a better, performing phone from the iPhone 12 mini than on the iPhone XS, and that's pretty much expected. Honestly, I wasn't expecting any difference. RAM management, though, honestly, I want it to be better on the iPhone 12 mini, but you can kind of see that it may be the opposite. For some reason, these type of phones on the 12 mini side, the RAM management just isn't really that good, and I will kind of do a full speed comparison between the 12 mini and a lot of other iPhones too. But from what I've seen, the 12 mini's RAM management just isn't that good. Like, it's worse than the iPhone 11's, which is very weird because that's an older phone than it. But so far, it's doing pretty well, I'm going to be honest. But let's go ahead on the cameras. Now, like I stated before, dual camera setups on both, 12 megapixel wide, 12 megapixel ultra wide on the 12 mini, where you have a 12 megapixel wide, then 12 megapixel telephoto lens on the iPhone XS. Now, on the iPhone XS, I've been saying this for a while. I've always felt like this was a really good camera, and I know I say that for every phone, but you have the ability of doing 4K 60 on this back camera. You have portrait mode, a lot of those different type of capabilities. But the biggest differences come in terms of the front camera, as I've stated before. You can do 1080p at 60 frames on the front of the iPhone XS, which is great, but you can do 4K at 60 on the front of the iPhone 12 mini. And I think for a lot of people, that actually may be a better deal for some people. I'm personally the type of person who uses their front camera more than their back camera, if I'm being honest. With a phone like the iPhone 12 mini, you're getting that 4K at 60 capability on the front, which, like I stated before, is a huge asset. You also have that ultra-wide sensor, which is something I really do like, and I prefer having an ultra-wide sensor over the telephoto lens on the iPhone XS. Now, to each their own. If you prefer one camera over the other, then that's fine, but I would recommend that, the quality of the camera is probably, better on the iPhone 12 mini than on the iPhone XS, but I will go ahead and do a full camera comparison between these at some point, so keep a lockdown on the channel and you won't miss that. Now, ending it off with the battery life, the iPhone XS has technically a bigger battery than the iPhone 12 mini, but size is isn't always everything, if I'm being honest. And between these two, maybe the 12 mini will actually outlast the 10s. I've been seeing time and time again that, my assumptions are sometimes wrong. So I will do a full, battery test between these two so you can kind of get a better idea. But I would assume maybe the 12 mini is better just because, but the 10s actually has the better battery. So to kind of sum up this video and to answer the question, should you go and pick up the 12 mini? Should you pick up the iPhone 10s? Let me go and start off with, saying some pros and cons for the 10s first. First of all, it's a cheaper phone than the iPhone 12 mini, but it doesn't really feel like a cheaper phone. I mean, it's built extremely well. In some cases, it feels like a more premium phone than the iPhone 12 mini because of the stainless steel sides. You're getting wireless charging, same on both IP certification, a bigger display, which some people may actually prefer, a high resolution display as well, which is huge. The performance is a little bit better on the 12 mini, but this is still really, really good. RAM management seemed to be about the same on both devices too. And it's just, there's still a lot of phone to love here. It's a cheaper price than the iPhone 12 mini, almost half the cost in some places, and that's a huge asset for the iPhone 10s. And the 12 mini is the newer phone, so it's going to be better in a lot of areas. You're getting a smaller display, so some people may prefer that. You're getting a smaller body too, which is a huge asset for this flat size, which is cool. An ultra-wide sensor and a better camera setup, which is really cool as well. Technically faster performance, even though RAM management seemed to be a lot worse on this one than a lot of other phones that I've tested. And you're getting, a lot more from a phone. You're getting longer software updates and everything like that, which is huge. But I really don't think if you're somebody who has an iPhone 10s, that you should go and upgrade to a 12 mini. I really don't think that. I think if you currently have an iPhone 10s, I would say keep it. There's really no reason to go to an iPhone 12 mini or really any of the iPhone 12 series. I feel like the 12 mini is a great phone, and I feel like all the iPhone 12s are great phones. But when you look at this phone, like the iPhone 10s, and you look at even other phones in the market, it's really hard to see, how much evolution is going on with the Apple iPhones. This phone still holds up extremely well. If you look at the front of the iPhone 10s and you look at the front of the iPhone 12 mini, they almost look exactly the same, to be honest. It's all these other little things around it. But even then, there's not that big of a difference. So what I'll tell you is that, if you have an older phone than both of these, if you have like an iPhone 8 or an iPhone 7 or something like that, or a Galaxy S7, I would recommend going to an iPhone 10s if you can find one for a cheap price. I feel like this phone, price per value, it's a better value than the iPhone 12 mini. But the iPhone 12 mini is the better phone in this case. So if money's not an issue or whatever, then by all means go for the 12 mini. But I wouldn't even say just stop there. I would say get the iPhone 12 Pro or the 12 Pro Max. But if size is a big deal, then the iPhone 12 mini is a smaller phone, as you guys can see. But I think the iPhone 10s still has a lot of capability behind it. And if I had the iPhone 10s, I would 100% not upgrade to the iPhone 12 mini. So that really pretty much covers it up. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys can hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my other channels. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.